This is an interesting set of audience set, as we say. They are screen audiences. They are born with screens. Absolutely sci-fi. We are learning from them every day, in and out. And there's so much which we can do for these audiences, but we have to do it in a certain way. Let me just cite some examples to you in terms of how some of the brands have made a play in this space of modern day marketing, where these kids are getting raised on screens and they are on the super highways of 5G. Even in 2010, they were latching on to Wi-Fi, better bandwidth, and they were moving into gaming, immersive worlds, and they were making a play out there. And now, this audience set is almost turning 15 years. So very, very relevant in terms of marketing for all our marketers here on this panel. Let me cite a very interesting example of what we did with a campaign for Aegis Federal. How many of you guys are aware about this campaign called Young Sachin? Show of hands. Okay, just two. I should spend time and explain you what went behind the scenes on that campaign. So I think the beautiful work which can happen for this audiences is when you get the worlds to collide. And me and the chief creative officer of VML, who was working on a insurance brand, Sahil, we were discussing, called Aegis Federal. And we were discussing and we were saying that we want to create something really progressive on insurance. We don't want to create a campaign wherein we'll just go and say that buy insurance. Tomorrow, if you are dead, what happens to your family? We wanted to break that typical comms and we wanted to create something which is more progressive. So Mukund tells me that I have got the legend Sachin Tendulkar with me. And this is the pre-GPT era. So there were no NLG models for consumers out there. This is pretty much India's first AI campaign. My knee-jerk reaction was, let's create a Zen Alpha version of Sachin who would go on TV and 11-year-old Sachin would go out there and say, मैं अपने फ्यूचर से डरा नहीं, मैंने अपने फ्यूचर के लिए प्रेप किया. Aegis Federal भी आपको प्रेप करता है अपने फ्यूचर के लिए, right? It's a classic example of creative and tech coming together, using a legend like Sachin, recreating him as a kid, and then communicating a comms. Exactly now, if you were to see, and if you see Messi is a cult with these kids. How many of you would agree? Right? Messi, I mean, if you've got a boy in your house, they are crazy for Messi. In fact, there are two gangs. When they meet, they have a vibe. They have got this brain rot thing going on Roblox. And if I ask him today, do chocolate or Robux, he will always say Robux. I said, why Robux? He's like, with Robux, I can create avatars. I can move into the gaming worlds. My friends will see this is worth $500 and stuff like that. So if you see, one of the classiest examples in the immersive gaming world was a case on Wendy's, which is a cinematic character of a brand that moves into various gaming worlds like Roblox and Minecraft. And she is challenging avid VR Zen Alpha gamers out there and beating them at that and then conveying the brand comms. So it's going to be brand storytelling for this audience sets. It cannot be those ads or the gaming environments which we have been raised on, like Angry Birds. You run out of birds, you watch a reward video, you get a bird and then you move ahead, right? We have a very good friend of mine, Arko. Can I call you Arko?
Yeah.
Because that's when
I don't think anybody would be able to pronounce my name anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah,
Arko is fine, Ray is fine.
So let's start with Arko. He's got Messi, who's going to be moving into India this December, right? Sometime soon.
Correct, yeah.
And HSBC has gotten Messi on board. What's your thought like? When we were discussing, he was full of ideas. But let's see, you're not committing to anything, but you're just sharing a piece of idea with Messi, with having such a huge cloud for this audience that's out there.
First of all, I would like to actually say thank you to all of you who are here and who want to listen to us. Thank you for coming in. And I think you made a great point there, and kudos to the team that worked on the piece where you mentioned Sachin and the Gen Alpha version of Sachin and how, this comes alive, relates to the Gen Alpha directly, right? It's a great idea, I feel. With Messi, our association, however, is a little different. At the end of the day, it connects with kids and specifically the Gen Alpha, right? There's a brilliant insight that we have been working on, right? Today, you see, when people like us, we want to actually do something or go somewhere or meet somebody, I want an experience or I want access to a specific thing which money can't buy. If it's too expensive, I'll take a call, okay, I don't want to kind of spend that kind of money for that experience or access to a specific area, right? But if my kid tells me that, Dad, I don't have a kid, but I'm just saying that, Dad, I want access to.
You don't
this.
have one?
No, I don't.
Zen Beta is coming up, guys. They're going to be the real users of AI with computers on their head.
Yeah, I have nieces and nephews, and they pester me for passes of concerts, etc. So I can gauge, right? So I can understand that at that juncture, the parent would rather kind of stretch that access, which is actually, giving the kid that experience. So at the end of the day, if you see, the decision comes from the kid. Yeah. And the parent is kind of using the wallet or the card or whatever medium that the person is using, right? So
perfect. I think in this panel, someone who can really decode this audience would be Pallavi. I'm the only CMI expert on the panel, so let's hear it and decode the audience first. Then we dive deeper into how are these brands making a play, how are they prepping for Zen Alpha audiences. I think Reeti here has got some fabulous examples. They're already clocking in some amazing examples out there and how they're engaging with these kids, and we'll get the energy up by playing some AVs as well. But let's hear it from Pallavi.
Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks, everyone, for being here and listening to us. As CMI, we love having an audience. So, Neeraj, you'll have to do a time check as I start speaking.
Just go for it.
But before I say anything, as L'Oreal, actually, we don't market to Gen Alpha, and we do it very consciously. In fact, we have campaigns talking about let kids be kids, and especially when it comes to beauty, it's a very tricky sort of a territory. So we are careful. Having said that, India especially is going to be the biggest Gen Alpha market come 2030 onwards, right? So it's great to be that company that's super ethical, but as a marketer, it's extremely stressful because we need to be ready the minute the clock strikes, right? And for that, before I share some of the insights, I think some of the things that we are being super mindful of is the investment that we make in structuring our data, the investments that we make in everything AI technology to ensure that we are able to respond to data and insights, in an almost seamless, hyper-reactive sort of a way. Why I'm saying this is, and Neeraj and I were talking about this earlier, I'm actually very excited that we're having a Gen Alpha conversation today because, and I speak for the marketing community, I think we kind of missed the bus with the Gen Z. We were a little late to the party, and then we are still trying to figure out who Gen Z is, and we have our stereotypes, but we haven't truly figured them out because we were not ready for them. With Gen Alpha, we have the time, and we are preparing for that. And one of the things that we need to keep in mind is to bring in humility. We will not know what Gen Alpha is. As marketers, we'll have to let go of almost, this chip on our shoulder that we'll be able to predict trends. We will be able to anticipate everything. That's not going to happen because this generation will surprise us, and that's something that we know for sure. What we need to get better at is reactions to, all of the changes and movements that we have. Having said that, what are things that we think we know about this generation? Let's talk about their context, right? This generation, especially in India, is going to be the first truly digital native generation, especially as you think about the digital onset and the explosion. 1 billion people in India have internet. Most, if not all, Gen Alpha kids will have access to internet in some form, if not on smartphones. So they're truly digital native. Everything that seems disruptive to us will be table stakes for them. Which also means they will have access to all possible information, extremely informed generation. But there's also going to be an over-simulation of both sensorial experiences as well as information, right? So as brands, we need to figure out what is the role that we are playing to be part of the conversation, but also sort of decreasing their cognitive load because it's going to be stressful. The second thing is also how they've grown up. This is a generation that has seen COVID. It has already seen wars, I can say. There is climate change that is the most real, unfortunately, for this generation. They're seeing AQIs in 3 digits, which is going to be the normal. Temperatures reaching 50, 55 degrees. problems with air quality, water quality, etc., and I'll come to how brands should respond on that. But it's going to be a stressful life for this generation as well. COVID was also an interesting and important moment for them because this generation is being brought up by millennials like you. So they're seeing a household which is far more egalitarian, right? Gender norms are very different for a Gen Alpha, even when compared to a Gen Z, because they don't know the concept of, truly, I mean, for the most part, it's India and, there are differences, but for the most part, the Gen Alphas are seeing, especially in metro markets, etc., they're seeing conversations that are egalitarian. And that changes the way they respond to communication and, they respond to brands, etc. So this is what we know. Now, as marketers, what do we do? Like I said, we need to be able to respond in a super agile way. AI, again, one of the things that is super disruptive today. I mean, AI has been in existence for 50 years. It's scaling right now. And by the time the Gen Alpha are going to be real customers, AI is going to be table stakes. And for bigger brands like ours, actually, it's going to be interesting because the barriers to entry will completely stop or stop to exist, right? So every brand will have an AI-generated content there. So how do you come across as authentic and as, purpose-driven using the AI tools? And one of the ways to do that is, and Anuradha was talking about that from Amazon earlier, is, use technology to make the mundane and the boring super, super simple, Let technology do the job for things that are not exciting, and then create space for super engaging experiences. Some of the examples like you were mentioning.
I must say that's stellar insight for an audience you're not even talking to right now. but in case, and you were right on your point on CMI, and if I give you the mic, it'll go on for another 20, 30 minutes. So I will put a pause on that.
I'll make one last point, and then
Sure.
we can move, because I spoke about climate change, and this is, I think, very important. There are multiple angles through which the Gen Alpha will have expectations from brands. Number one is product. We will need product that helps them cope with the new environment. And from a beauty lens, there are various examples, but which sunscreen really works at 50 degrees Celsius and 90% humidity, right? So there is investment that needs to happen, which allows this generation to cope with the environmental stress. Second, brand purpose is going to be extremely important. And again, it has to be authentic, and it has to be demonstrated. And it's no longer just about plastic, but every kind of carbon footprint. This generation will take it seriously because they're seeing the aftermath of everything that we've discussed. And finally, like I said, purpose. The what is going to be known, product, and innovative product is not the strategy. The strategy will be why you choose my innovative product versus any other brand. So I'll stop at that.
Thank you, Pallavi. So there is a product side of innovation which you spoke about, but on the marketing side, there'll be a lot of innovations which will kick in, and I think Gaurav had an interesting example, him being a really creative guy, blending music with AI. He had a very interesting use case for you, so let's hear him out. And then you tell me whether you would want to experiment with that or not. This creative thought.
Okay, so I'd like to say that what most brands seek at all points in time is building trust and recall in the minds of their consumer, right? Every brand here, be it Mahindra, HSBC, L'Oreal, Axis, they're all brands that have been there for a long time. They've stood the test of time. And if you really see, music is something that gets into your mind at the earliest of days. Ask yourselves, which are the songs that you actually remember end to end? The songs that you heard last year or the songs that you learned when you were in school? I was in a school a few weeks ago doing a workshop with kids on music. So I run a music tech company called Hooper. We provide music licenses and we also work with a lot of brands. But every now and then I feel the pulse of the audience by being a part of music, right? And today's kids were singing songs by Hanuman Kind, Anuv Jain, end to end. Even songs by Kishore Kumar, they knew end to end. I feel that music is underused by brands in carving out a place for themselves in the minds of the audience. And today, Gen Alpha is probably the most important audience you would want if you're thinking down the line, not just probably the next 2 years, 5 years, but probably the next.
What kind of music
10,
they
15
listen to?
years. So I have a Gen Alpha at home. My daughter is 6.
Gaurav,
And
what kind of music they listen to? Gen
who?
Alpha.
The Gen Alpha? So my daughter today loves Demon Hunters. It's a show on Netflix. Her favorite acts are Saja Boys and Huntrix from Demon Hunters. A 10-year-old today would listen to anybody from a Karan Aujla to a Big Dogs. They're also listening to international music. When folks like Ed Sheeran come in, the school kids start learning how to play their songs. So it's vast. In fact, when you travel across India, you'll realize that different people actually listen to different kinds of music. But just off the top, as Pallavi was talking, I was thinking of, let's say, a brand like L'Oreal. You said you wouldn't want to directly market, which is absolutely fair. But the Gen Alpha today, they don't just want to be communicated to, they want to be a part of that experience themselves. So let's say if there were to be a cool microsite or a game called Popstar Me, in which a kid, not every kid can become a pop star, but every kid aspires to be. So let's say a child can select his or her avatar, a pop star avatar on that particular site, basis their persona, basis what they believe in. There might be a kid who's very socially and environmentally conscious. There might be another kid who's wanting to become an influencer in the space of, say, beauty and fashion. Depending upon their persona, a pop star is generated. And using music licensing, which we do, and a little bit of AI, maybe a flip is created, which they can then share with their family and friends. Something like that, if they get exposed to at this point in time, the brand actually stays with them for a long time. So that's just an idea for
How's that, Pallavi?
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing. I think the idea of avatars and the metaverse is something L'Oreal globally has been talking about. And with Gen Alpha, that will be the right generation. In fact, when I was talking about the fact that we create space and time for more engagement and make the product exciting in ways that goes beyond digital marketing. So super interesting. I'll take it back to the office.
Let's
and
create in 3 years, maybe. All right, let me now bring in Reeti. You want to start with the AV, or you want to just
No, let me
talk your
talk
journey
about-
or talk about the Zen Alpha kids and all the fancy work we should be doing on the brands?
Yeah, there's so much going on. But I would like to first give some context to this and adding on to how Pallavi laid it out so beautifully, so comprehensive. What we're picking up is, when you have to compare Gen Z versus Gen Alpha, if Gen Z was about expressing oneself because they grew with, Facebook, social media, Gen Alpha is more about being included in building something. They're growing with, co-creation platforms, as you said, Roblox. So they love participation.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
They want to take control.
And yeah, they love agency. So if brands can give them that, they'll become your advocates, and if they love you today, they'll choose you tomorrow. So we've been doing a lot, especially as automotive, while they're not driving our cars, but emotionally they're already in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And when we launched last year, the BE6 and the XEV9e, these two are pure born electric vehicles. We first took up, there's this theme of Unlimit India. So I'll talk about various themes that we've played out for Gen Alpha. So India's pride, we were saying these are the two world-beating cars. These are the two Indian icons with features, which you usually find in a crore-plus cars. And you're getting that at Indian price by an made in India company. So if that's the whole stance we took, we actually raced these cars with luxury best in front of media, beating them. So it was not just talks; it actually was performing, and India went berserk with this.
Yeah.
We got almost 4 billion views 4 billion views.
On the Batman variant.
No, this is the last year when we launched our first 2 cars. So Batman just came a couple of months back. Now, India used to be, something that we would compare as millennials ourselves. For us, abroad is better. We were in that stage. With Gen Z, it was like a transition happening. With Gen Alpha, they are brought into this confident India. So it played out so beautifully with Gen Alpha that they're very confident about India and its future, and with us doing the Chandrayaan mission, the ISRO launches, so many Olympic international wins. It just hit it on their hearts. So that was theme 1. The second theme, of course, what Gen Alpha loves, as I said, participation. So you can't expect them to enter your brand. You have to enter in their universe.
Yeah.
And when we launched these 2 cars, we had customers and their kids already calling out the BE6 as the Batmobile, the black one.
Yeah.
So it was already out, and we used to pick this up as the insight, and we were like, why not? We spoke to Warner Bros. And we struck this deal. And here we had the world's first ever, the BE6, which was Batman inspired.
Yeah.
And kids loved it.
Even in school, they have a module on sustainability. They are being coached on sustainability and a lot of other stuff which they keep talking about, like save water, like EV cars and all of that. They're already having such conversations.
Yeah. I'm still talking on more of, lifestyles here, of their worlds. I'll come to the sustainability topic, which is slightly different. So this was the BE6 Batman edition. We only had 999 of them, sold out in less than 135 seconds.
135 seconds, is it?
135 seconds. Yeah, I'm talking about cars. The 999 of them
Why
gone.
not more?
It was a limited edition run. So that was that. And I'm carrying
we
some
see that?
AVs.
Should
So
we see that?
they were kind enough to play one so that you know what this is. So if you can just
Okay, guys,
pull
here,
up.
can we play the AV, please?
Do they know which one is the
Yeah,
Batman?
I mean, let's go for a lucky
Queuing
draw.
in for the
They
AV.
have 2
Thank
AVs.
you.
Oh yeah, this one.
Is that the one? Okay, super. Legend is born. We're respecting the Make in India variant because everyone's up.
Thank you.
Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah.
It felt like we are launching the car. But fabulous. This is Make in India.
Clear skies on this exciting
yet.
race day.
Not
The
yet.
teams are set and we're charged up to
All right, you want
We
to
can
set a
pause.
context on
Thank
that
you.
one and maybe we can play the AV? You can go for it now.
Back to back?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, are
So
you
we
ready
can-
for one?
Yes,
I'll
one
let
more.
others talk.
One more. We are in that
Hi.
India kind of an energy now. So let's wrap it up and let's listen
Okay,
to you more.
so after Batman, and I had these young kids dressed in Batman and the cape and their mask, all coming decked up to take the deliveries, of course. This was amazing. I have some photos, little boys and girls. So after this, it gave us an insight of editions and how, you know, not every brand can carry such collabs. First of all, it's a fine balance because we are an automotive serious business. You're selling to adults as well, right? You're actually selling to adults.
Yeah.
So you can't make it so gimmicky and playful that it loses out the entire luxuriness, the sophistication. And hence we found B6 as the brand that was like a blank canvas. So many customers were doing their own thing on this car, like they made it full yellow car or whatever, their own colors, purples, this. So the car itself lends a blank canvas to work on. And the second idea came with its interiors, which is like a racing cockpit. So if you look at this car, it's got this race-ready cockpit. It's and B6 is honestly not a car, it's a vibe.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other brand or SUV or electric that can carry that
You're
personality.
already talking like a Zen Alpha. It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's got its own flex. That's the new term, right, these days.
Yeah.
So we thought there's one more trend which is picking up with Gen Alpha, Formula racing.
Yeah.
And it's teaching a lot of things. It's not just about aggression. It teaches you grit. It teaches you resilience. It teaches young India to, you know, fail fast, bounce back faster. And Mahindra has been a founding team in Formula E racing, by the way. It's been there from season 1. And this time it's our season 12. So we were like, why not
Yeah.
do a special? So we did a world's first Formula E racing inspired B6. And there's an AV for that too. I mean,
Isn't it
AV
India
just-
loves the world's first? If you speak to anybody, the marketing tagline which the government loves and what India loves is to create world's first.
Yeah, we are not copying anymore. We are giving the world world's
Absolutely.
first.
Let's see
So
that.
yeah,
Let's
that's
see
the
the AV
second
guys.
one.
Let's again get up. Let's see the AV guys. We have about 14 minutes, all for my friend Sahil, who has a
thing,
fabulous
Queuing
example
in for the
coming up.
next AV. Thank you.
Clear skies on this exciting race day. The teams are set and we're charged up to get going shortly. And they're off.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me play these because how much ever I explain, you know, videos, I can't do conveys the real intent. It just elevates the conversation. So yeah, this is what we are doing. We are entering their universes. And that's how we gain access to them early on. Because as I said, they're emotionally already on the driver's seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me now ask my friend Sahil, who has some rich insight on Zen Alpha, one of our fabulous leaders in the insurance segment. And as we all know, India is not insured the way it should be by any means. And this is a generation which has to be coached in a certain way. And you already did some fabulous work with Rohit Sharma, who is also one of the stars in their world. So would love to hear it from you now.
Thank you so much. I was wondering whether I should walk out, if there my chance is going to come or not. But yeah, thank you so much. I think life insurance, generally, one of the most important product. However, again, unfortunately, thought of pretty much in the when it comes to investment planning, very late. At least, when it comes to Gen Alpha, actually, I wanted to share this one insight. While most of the insights have already been spoken, but then yes, I was coming here and being a Gen Alpha parent myself, my 10-year-old kid asked me exactly where are you going, because I was traveling from Delhi to Mumbai. I told him that I'm going for a panel discussion and I'll be talking about certain topics. And the inquisitive nature of this Gen Alpha, he asked me exactly what are you talking about. I said I'm talking about Gen Alpha. He said that's me. Then why am I not being invited?
Why am I not there?
So on a lighter note, I think the Gen Alpha themselves are very, very inquisitive. They are pretty much overexposed to the content on the digital platforms as we spoke about, and there is a fair bit of knowledge and awareness that they have already acquired over the period of time. And there is a reason behind it. Obviously, we spoke about how they have been born into the revolution of smartphones. They've been born into the revolution of internet. They've also seen pretty much content revolution happening around them, and hence they pretty much want to consume most of the content by themselves and be inquisitive about it, right? One of the another advantage of Gen Alphas is actually you're being also nurtured by a millennial, right? So I'm also giving kudos to myself. So being a millennial, it is also kind of one of the parenting habit of a millennial is to raise their kids in an open environment, right? And where am I coming at is that millennials are not scared or shying from having conversations around taboo topics, right? Whether it is cyber security, cyber threats, whether it is about mental health, mental wellness, or even about finances and life insurance. So, if I were to talk about 10 years before, I think these conversations were never done in a living room kind of a setup. You would have a man of the house, making some of those investment decisions, and you would only get to know once, let's suppose, the right time would come. I think, however, the things have changed, in the last few years, and we've seen that a lot of these conversations about investments, about life insurance are actually happening on the living room table, right? Yeah. Whether it is two millennial parents having this conversation, or even sharing some of these insights with the Gen Alpha kind of a kid. And the advantage, at least, is that when you're making some of these, conversations as a brand to the millennial, these are being consumed very well by the Gen Alphas as well. Right, and specifically, if I were to talk about, there is one of the platform that Axis Max Life Insurance does. It's called the India Protection Quotient, right? The India Protection Quotient basically tells about the overall preparedness about around the financial basically talks about financial preparedness for the various segments, whether it is Gen Zs or the millennials. We've not gone into the Gen Alphas, but the whole point is that when we see this entire awareness, it is basically improving as we go down the age. So millennials and then Gen Zs are comparatively better aware in terms of their finances, and similar case is going to happen with the Gen Alphas. When Gen Alphas start earning, they will have a much better kind of awareness and understanding of how to really save, how to invest. And that's where we want to be, right? As a brand, we want to have those conversations brought to the living room so that they can be at least, the Gen Alphas can be prepared well in advance, right? So those are the kind of things that we are trying to do. Coming back to Rohit Sharma that you mentioned. So we do have, Rohit Sharma and Ritika Sajde as our brand endorsers. And there are 2-3 things that I want to maybe talk about again. As a brand, as I mentioned earlier, we are basically focusing on a smart millennial family, not a smart millennial man, but a smart millennial family. And the ripoff is that the way we are able to actually craft our messaging, whether it is on digital or it's on the traditional medium, I think it can be positively and progressively seen by the entire family, and the conversations can be healthy around those. So that is one thing. And on the AI space, we did speak about a lot about how Gen Zs and Gen Alphas are very, very far advanced in terms of the AI adoption. By the way, my son can use Canva to make super videos that possibly my team cannot. So they're very, very adept at some of these AI tools. And specifically, we as a brand are also kind of trying to foray into their world, at least when it comes to some of these AI related content is. So as of now, I can create a Rohit Sharma enabled personalized content for yourself that will obviously delight you, and eventually when Gen Alpha gets exposed to some of these content pieces, they do kind of admire the brand as well. Yeah. So having said that.
Please go on.
Sure. So having said that, I think the 2-3 areas that I was covering is one, as a life insurance brand, it is important for us to create that level of awareness. If you talk about the industry, the penetration of life insurance is hardly there, right? So there is only less than 3% of penetration in India as a percentage of GDP. When you compare it with the overall Asia, it's almost again Asia is standing at 4%, India would be at 3%, and when you look at globally, it's almost 3 times of that. So now India, for the Gen Alpha population that's going to grow up eventually and start investing, it is important for brands like us to create that awareness. That's one. The second part that I mentioned is about having those conversations around the taboo topics, even like life insurance, in bringing them into the living room kind of setup, so we can create that level of conversation. And third, using the tech, the AI, to make our content much more engaging, much more kind of entertaining for the Gen Alphas to kind of ape up and have financial information on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sahil. Let me now bring in Gaurav. Gaurav, you heard all our leaders from automobile, insurance and banking segment. What are your thoughts if you were to create some magic with music and AI for these marketers? Let's throw some use cases at them and let's hear them out.
I think really
Let's
fertile
start
grounds,
with,
all of them.
Riti, maybe.
Okay, so Riti, what I would love to do with Mahindra. So I've been following all the variants, and I've seen that you've used songs like Dil Bole Boom Boom, Gazab Ka Hai Din. So which means that there is a usage of songs that we know, but you've redone them in an electronic manner. So I would love to create an IP called, say, Echoes, where these songs are echoing over time. It's just that the sound changes, it becomes a little fresh, modern. And we had tried this experiment in Hooper where we got a song recorded by kids and grown-ups at the same time, and you could actually mute, solo, and add voices, so it became large. So I would love to do something like this, where there are probably these echo lounges even at Mahindra, dealerships, and we would probably recreate some of the best songs. We are doing about 200 recreations with Universal Music right now of their classics. So I would love to do something in the echo space with a brand like Mahindra.
Let's create an echo experience for the audience. Last time we met, you were singing on stage and you did a fab job.
Yeah,
so let's create an echo experience. Go for it.
No, but genuinely, we did this with Chak De India, a kid's version of Chak De India, and we all got goosebumps when we heard that, right? Yeah. So we would love to recreate those songs with, say, a brand like Mahindra, some of the older songs from the 90s. I would say for an HSBC, I would love to do... I was thinking of this when I was coming. So a lot of school kids today play instruments really well. And, you were talking about millennial parents. They encourage their kids to express. So can we find the next, say, a Lydian Nadaswaram? Can we find the next prodigy in India? Can we get them? So let's say we were to create something like HSBC Fusion Labs, where a kid plays an instrument and with AI, he or she is able to create a flip or a new track. The idea is most banks do a lot of music which is on ground. Can we also, because I always think of music as an asset, it actually compounds, it earns royalties. So can we make it a part of what the bank does? So I would love to do something like that. Even with Axis, I would love to probably link, let's say, a mother and daughter. The mother sings, the daughter plays an instrument, or the father sings. Today you've seen Sonu Nigam's son is singing, or Shan's son, so on, in classical and so on. So probably in insurance, what is it that you're leaving to the next generation, or you're giving back, right? What is the wealth of music that we are transferring to the next generation? So various ideas are popping in my mind. Just a couple of things. I think we are a music licensing company. So our core business is that all the brands that create content, they should use music legally and ethically. All the brands that create videos on social media, when they use popular songs, trending songs, Bollywood songs, we are the platform in the country to procure an affordable instant license. And if there are Gen Alpha folks in the room, they would all say, yes, we should be ethical, right? So first, I would like to appeal to all brands out here, especially those creating content, please license songs. The money actually flows back to artists, and it's so good if that's our contribution to sustainability in music. That's one. The other thing, we spoke about including Gen Alpha in whatever we do and not just communicating to them. I mentioned that we are doing 200 recreations of songs and also some originals. I've never done this at an event, but being a part of this event, I'd like to say at Screenage today, 2025, that out of the 200, we are going to do 40 recreations in the voices of Gen Alpha. I will make that as a commitment in Hooper, simply because I feel that we only do songs with Gen Z folks. Sure, we look at Gen Alpha getting inspired, but why can't they actually be a part of, why can't they sing and can they become artists? So I would like to make that commitment. I'd love for some of the brands to be a part of this, and I'd welcome anyone to be a part of it. गाना आज तो नहीं गाऊंगा मैं, I think, but if
Pollution
I
ज़्यादा
could,
है, throat खराब है.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, but genuinely, I'm so thrilled that music is playing a huge role here, and would love to see what we can do with every brand in the space of Gen Alpha and Gen Z also for that matter.
Absolutely, guys. With that, we are on time. हमें पे रहना हमें भी पसंद है, सिर्फ इंडिगो को नहीं. Thank you so much, panelists. It was an awesome conversation.
Thank you.
We all had with some amazing AVs and India First energy. Thank you so much.
World's first.